The morning sun cast long shadows across the military training facility as General Marcus Harrison made his routine inspection rounds. At 62 years old, he had seen countless soldiers come and go through these grounds, each carrying their own dreams and ambitions. Today felt no different as he walked past the various training stations, his polished boots clicking against the concrete pathways. The general paused momentarily at the obstacle course, watching recruits struggle through mud-covered barriers. Their grunts and shouts filled the air as drill sergeants barked orders from nearby platforms. Harrison nodded approvingly at their determination before continuing his walk toward the shooting ranges. As he approached the long-range marksmanship area, the distinct crack of high-powered rifles echoed across the valley. The Barrett .50 caliber rifles were positioned at the furthest range, reserved only for the most skilled marksmen. These weapons required exceptional strength, precision, and mental fortitude to master effectively. Harrison remembered his own days training with similar equipment decades ago. The Barrett was not a weapon for the faint-hearted. Its massive size and thunderous recoil demanded respect from even the most experienced soldiers. Only a select few ever achieved the coveted 3,200-meter accuracy badge. Walking past the shooting benches, he noticed the usual collection of male soldiers practicing their long-range techniques. Their instructors moved between positions, offering guidance and corrections. The atmosphere was intense, focused, and thoroughly professional. But something caught his peripheral vision that made him slow his pace. At the furthest shooting position, partially obscured by equipment and other personnel, someone was operating a Barrett rifle with remarkable composure. The shooter's form appeared textbook perfect, and the rifle seemed to respond like an extension of their body. General Harrison continued walking, assuming it was another skilled male marksman honing his craft. He had witnessed countless demonstrations of exceptional shooting ability throughout his career. Excellence in marksmanship was always impressive, regardless of who displayed it. The crack of another shot rang out, followed immediately by excited voices from the spotting team. Someone had clearly hit their target at an impressive distance. The general smiled slightly, appreciating the dedication these soldiers showed in perfecting their skills. As he drew closer to the shooting line, preparing to congratulate the marksman on what sounded like exceptional performance, something unexpected began to register in his mind. The figure behind the massive Barrett rifle was smaller than he had initially assumed. With movements that seemed somehow different from what he typically observed, the shooter adjusted position slightly, and for the first time, General Harrison caught a clear glimpse of the person operating the powerful rifle. His steps slowed as his brain processed what his eyes were seeing. Though he had not yet fully grasped the significance of the moment, the rangemaster approached the shooting position with a measuring tape and rangefinder, clearly preparing to verify something important. Other soldiers gathered around, their voices carrying notes of amazement and respect. Whatever was happening at that particular shooting bench was generating considerable attention from everyone present. General, Harrison found himself unconsciously adjusting his route to get a better view of the situation. His curiosity was piqued by the obvious excitement and energy surrounding this particular shooter. After decades of military service, he could recognize when something truly special was occurring. The atmosphere around the shooting position was electric with anticipation. Fellow soldiers whispered among themselves, clearly witnessing something remarkable. The range safety officer maintained his professional demeanor, but couldn't hide the impressed expression on his weathered face. As the general approached within 50 meters of the shooting position, the reality of what he was witnessing began to crystallize in his mind. The exceptional marksmanship he had been observing was not coming from the typical source he had expected. His pace slowed even further as the full picture started becoming clear. The shooter behind the Barrett rifle was preparing for another shot, completely focused on the task at hand. Their breathing was controlled, their stance was perfect, and their grip on the massive weapon showed complete familiarity and confidence. This was clearly not a novice attempting to prove themselves. General, Harrison realized he was about to witness something that would challenge every assumption he had carried throughout his distinguished military career. The moment was building toward a revelation that would force him to reconsider long-held beliefs about capability, potential, and the true meaning of military excellence. Staff Sergeant Elena Rodriguez had been awake since 4 in the morning, preparing for this moment. At 28 years old, she had spent the last 6 years proving herself in a military environment that often questioned her presence. Today represented the culmination of months of intensive training and preparation. The Barrett M82A1 rifle lay before her, its 50-pound weight distributed across the specially designed shooting rest. Elena had spent countless hours familiarizing herself with every component of this weapon system. She understood its ballistics, its quirks, and most importantly, how to compensate for the massive recoil that intimidated many larger soldiers. Her hands moved with practiced precision as she adjusted the scope settings for the 3,200-meter target. The mathematics involved in such long-range shooting were complex, requiring calculations for wind drift, bullet drop, atmospheric pressure, and temperature variations. Elena had studied these factors obsessively. Growing up in rural Texas, Elena had learned to shoot on her grandfather's ranch. Her grandfather, a Korean War veteran, had taught her that marksmanship was about patience, discipline, and understanding, rather than brute strength. Those early lessons had shaped her entire approach to military service. When Elena first enlisted, many questioned whether she possessed the physical capabilities necessary for combat roles. She had proven them wrong repeatedly, excelling in every training program and deployment. However, the long-range marksmanship program represented her ultimate challenge. The 3,200-meter badge was legendary within the military community. Only a handful of soldiers achieved this distinction each year, and none of them had been women. Elena was attempting to break through a barrier that seemed impenetrable to many observers. Her spotter, Corporal James Mitchell, had initially been skeptical about working with Elena. However, weeks of training together had earned his complete respect and trust. Mitchell understood Elena's capabilities better than anyone. Having witnessed her consistent accuracy at distances that challenged even veteran marksmen, Elena controlled her breathing as she settled into the shooting position. The target, barely visible even through high-powered optics, represented more than just a piece of paper. It symbolized every doubt, every questioning glance, and every assumption about her limitations. The wind conditions were nearly perfect, with minimal crosswind to complicate her calculations. Elena had been monitoring weather patterns for days, waiting for optimal shooting conditions. She knew this opportunity might not present itself again for weeks. As she aligned the crosshairs on the distant target, Elena thought about her younger sister Maria, who dreamed of joining the military but feared she wasn't strong enough. Today's performance would send a message that capability couldn't be measured by traditional standards alone. The first shot had struck the target precisely, earning excited reactions from the range personnel. Elena's second shot had grouped within inches of the first, demonstrating consistency rather than luck. Now she was preparing for the third shot that would officially qualify her for the prestigious badge. Elena's finger found the trigger, applying steady pressure as she had done thousands of times before. The rifle erupted with its characteristic thunderclap, and the massive recoil drove back against her shoulder. She maintained her position, watching through the scope as the spotter confirmed another precise hit. The range master approached with official measuring equipment, his expression showing professional amazement. Elena had achieved something that defied conventional wisdom about physical requirements and capability limitations. Her performance was rewriting assumptions about military potential. As Elena prepared for her final qualifying shot, she noticed increased activity around the shooting line. Word was spreading quickly about her exceptional performance. Fellow soldiers gathered at respectful distances, witnessing what they recognized as a historic moment. The pressure was mounting, but Elena had trained for exactly this situation. She understood that performing under scrutiny was part of proving her capabilities. Every shot had to be perfect. Every movement had to demonstrate complete competence and confidence. Elena chambered her final round, knowing that this shot would determine whether months of preparation had been worthwhile. The target seemed impossibly distant, but her training had prepared her for this exact moment. She was ready to make history. General Harrison's footsteps came to a complete halt as the full reality of the situation crystallized before him. Behind the massive Barrett rifle, displaying perfect form and complete confidence, was a woman. Not just any woman, but a soldier whose shooting position and technique rivaled anything he had witnessed in his 40-year military career. Elena Rodriguez fired her final qualifying shot, the thunderous report echoing across the valley like a cannon blast. The recoil, which could knock unprepared shooters off balance, barely moved her as she maintained perfect follow-through. Her body absorbed the impact with practiced ease, demonstrating months of conditioning and training. The spotter's voice crackled over the radio with barely contained excitement. The shot had struck dead center of the 3,200-meter target, completing a grouping that met every requirement for the prestigious marksmanship badge. Elena had achieved something that less than 50 soldiers accomplished annually, across all military branches. General Harrison stood frozen, his mind struggling to process what he was witnessing. Throughout his career, he had encountered exceptional soldiers who challenged his preconceptions. However, this moment represented something entirely different. Elena's performance wasn't just impressive, it was revolutionizing his understanding of military capability. The rangemaster approached Elena's position with official documentation, preparing to verify and record her achievement. His weathered face showed genuine admiration as he examined the target through high-powered spotting scopes. Each of Elena's shots had landed within the required parameters, with consistency that suggested skill rather than luck. Elena carefully safed her weapon and began the methodical process of cleaning and securing the Barrett rifle. Her movements were precise and respectful, treating the powerful weapon with appropriate reverence. She had earned the right to handle such equipment through demonstrated competence rather than assumptions about physical capability. Fellow soldiers approached Elena's position, offering congratulations and expressing amazement at her performance. Many had observed portions of her training over recent weeks, but witnessing the official qualification was entirely different. She had proven that excellence in marksmanship transcended traditional expectations. General Harrison slowly resumed walking, though his pace remained much slower than usual. His eyes remained fixed on Elena as she interacted professionally with range personnel and fellow soldiers. Her demeanor was confident but humble, accepting praise while maintaining appropriate military bearing. The implications of what he had witnessed began settling into the general's consciousness. Elena's achievement would undoubtedly generate attention throughout the military hierarchy. Her success challenged established assumptions about physical requirements and opened new discussions about capability assessment. As Elena packed her equipment, the general noticed her methodical attention to detail. Every component was cleaned, checked, and secured according to proper procedures. She treated her gear with the same precision she had demonstrated in her shooting, showing comprehensive military professionalism. The other soldiers continued gathering around Elena, asking questions about her training methods and technique. She answered patiently, sharing knowledge and encouraging others to pursue their own marksmanship goals. Her willingness to mentor others demonstrated leadership qualities beyond her technical skills. General Harrison found himself reevaluating decades of military experience through this new lens. Elena's performance forced him to confront unconscious biases about capability and potential. Her achievement wasn't about proving women could compete. It was about recognizing that excellence came in many forms. The rangemaster completed his official measurements and documentation, confirming Elena's qualification for the 3,200-meter badge. The paperwork would begin a process that would eventually reach the highest levels of military leadership. Elena had become a trailblazer, whether she had intended to or not. Elena shouldered her equipment bag and began walking toward the equipment storage area. Her movements showed no arrogance or self-congratulation, only the quiet satisfaction of a professional who had accomplished a difficult objective through dedication and skill. General Harrison realized he needed to approach Elena and acknowledge her achievement personally. As the senior officer present, protocol demanded recognition of such exceptional performance. However, he also felt compelled to understand how she had accomplished something so remarkable. The moment represented more than individual achievement. It symbolized the evolution of military excellence. Elena had demonstrated that capability couldn't be predicted by traditional measures alone. Her success would inspire others while challenging established assumptions about potential and performance. Elena was securing the last of her equipment when she noticed the crowd around her had grown unusually quiet. The congratulatory chatter died down as soldiers began straightening their postures and adjusting their uniforms. She looked up to see what had caused this sudden change in atmosphere. General Harrison approached with measured steps, his presence commanding immediate respect from everyone present. Elena recognized him instantly from base briefings and official photographs. The general's reputation for fairness and tactical brilliance was well known throughout the installation, but he rarely interacted directly with individual soldiers during routine activities. Elena immediately came to attention. Her equipment bag balanced perfectly as she rendered a sharp salute. Her heart rate increased slightly, though not from nervousness. She felt proud of her achievement and was prepared to discuss her performance with any superior officer, regardless of rank. The general returned Elena's salute with precision, his experienced eyes taking in every detail of her appearance and bearing. She maintained perfect military posture while meeting his gaze directly, showing confidence without arrogance. Her uniform was immaculate despite hours of intensive shooting practice. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, General Harrison began, his voice carrying the authority of decades in command. I witnessed your performance today. That was exceptional marksmanship by any standard. His tone was professional, but carried unmistakable admiration for what he had observed. Elena responded with appropriate military courtesy. Thank you, sir. I've been training extensively for this qualification. The range personnel and my spotter provided excellent support throughout the process. She gave credit to others while accepting the general's recognition gracefully. The general nodded approvingly at Elena's response. Her ability to acknowledge teamwork while taking responsibility for her performance demonstrated leadership maturity beyond her rank. He had encountered many soldiers who either deflected praise entirely or claimed sole credit for collaborative achievements. How long have you been preparing for this qualification? General Harrison asked, genuinely curious about the dedication required for such achievement. He understood the physical and mental demands of long-range marksmanship, having qualified on similar weapons systems earlier in his career. Elena's response was precise and informative. 8 months of intensive training, sir. I spent additional time studying ballistics, atmospheric effects, and equipment maintenance. My grandfather taught me basic marksmanship principles, but military, long-range shooting required completely different skills and knowledge. The general was impressed by Elena's thorough approach to preparation. Many soldiers focused solely on trigger time, without understanding the scientific principles underlying accurate long-range shooting. Elena's comprehensive training explained her exceptional performance under pressure. Other soldiers maintained respectful distances while observing this unprecedented interaction. Word was spreading quickly throughout the base about Elena's achievement and the general's personal recognition. Such direct attention from senior leadership was rare and significant. General Harrison continued his questioning, seeking to understand Elena's motivation and future goals. What drew you to pursue this particular qualification? The physical demands alone discourage many candidates from attempting the program. Elena's answer revealed her deeper purpose. I wanted to prove that capability isn't determined by physical appearance, sir. Many assume that certain specialties are beyond reach for soldiers like me. I hope to demonstrate that dedication and proper training can overcome perceived limitations. The general found Elena's honesty refreshing and admirable. She wasn't pursuing recognition for personal glory, but was challenging systemic assumptions about potential and capability. Her achievement would inspire others while forcing leadership to reconsider recruitment and training policies. Your performance today certainly accomplished that objective, General Harrison replied. This achievement will generate significant attention throughout the command structure. Are you prepared for the increased scrutiny and responsibility that may follow? Elena's response demonstrated her understanding of the broader implications. Yes, sir. I recognize that my performance represents more than individual achievement. If my success helps other soldiers pursue their goals without artificial barriers, then any additional pressure will be worthwhile. The general was struck by Elena's maturity and sense of responsibility. She understood that her achievement carried symbolic weight beyond personal accomplishment. Her willingness to accept the pressure of being a trailblazer showed character that impressed even skeptical observers. General Harrison realized this. Conversation would be remembered and discussed throughout the military community. Elena's achievement and their interaction would influence policies and attitudes for years to come. He felt honored to witness this historic moment firsthand. Word of Elena's achievement spread through the military base like wildfire. By evening, news of the first woman to earn the 3,200-meter Barrett badge had reached every unit on the installation. Soldiers who had never met Elena knew her name and discussed her accomplishment in mess halls, barracks, and training areas. Elena found herself navigating unfamiliar territory as fellow soldiers approached her with questions, congratulations, and requests for training advice. Some interactions were genuinely supportive, while others carried undertones of skepticism or challenge. She handled each conversation with professionalism and patience. The base commander, Colonel Sarah Patterson, summoned Elena to her office the following morning. Patterson had been following Elena's training progress and was not surprised by her success, though she understood the significance of this particular achievement for military culture and policy. Sergeant Rodriguez, Colonel Patterson began, "Your accomplishment yesterday has generated considerable attention beyond this installation. We've received inquiries from military leadership, media representatives, and advocacy organizations. How do you wish to handle this attention?" Elena had anticipated this conversation and had given serious thought to her response. "Ma'am, I want to focus on my military duties and help other soldiers improve their marksmanship skills. If sharing my experience encourages others to pursue their goals, I'm willing to participate in appropriate forums." Colonel Patterson appreciated Elena's measured approach to the situation. Many soldiers might be overwhelmed by such attention or attempt to exploit it for personal gain. Elena's commitment to military service and helping others demonstrated admirable priorities. Meanwhile, General Harrison was fielding calls from senior military leadership, requesting detailed reports about Elena's performance and the circumstances of her achievement. Her success was being analyzed and discussed at the highest levels of command, with implications for recruitment, training, and assignment policies. The general's own perspective had been profoundly affected by witnessing Elena's achievement. He found himself questioning assumptions he had carried throughout his career about physical requirements and capability assessments. Elena's performance provided concrete evidence that excellence could emerge from unexpected sources. Elena's training partners and instructors were also experiencing increased attention. Rangemaster Sergeant William Torres, who had supervised Elena's qualification, was being interviewed about her training methods and performance characteristics. His professional assessment carried significant weight in evaluating the legitimacy of her achievement. Sergeant Rodriguez approached this training with more preparation and dedication than most candidates. Torres explained to inquiring officers, "Her understanding of ballistics and environmental factors exceeded many senior marksmen. Her success resulted from superior preparation rather than luck or special accommodation." The military marksmanship community was particularly interested in Elena's techniques and equipment modifications. Her success challenged conventional wisdom about physical requirements for long-range shooting, forcing experts to reconsider their assumptions about optimal shooter characteristics. Elena's family received notification of her achievement through official military channels. Her grandfather, who had taught her basic shooting principles decades earlier, was particularly proud. Her sister Maria called immediately, expressing amazement and inspiration at Elena's groundbreaking accomplishment. Training schedules were adjusted to accommodate increased interest in long-range marksmanship programs. Elena's success had motivated other soldiers to pursue similar qualifications, creating demand for additional training opportunities and instructor resources. The Barrett rifle manufacturer also took notice of Elena's achievement. Her success using their equipment represented valuable validation of their design and engineering. Marketing representatives inquired about potential collaboration opportunities, though Elena remained focused on military rather than commercial objectives. Elena began receiving unofficial mentoring requests from female soldiers throughout the base. Many sought advice about pursuing challenging specialties and overcoming skepticism from peers and superiors. Elena welcomed these conversations while maintaining her primary focus on military excellence. General Harrison realized that Elena's achievement represented a watershed moment for military culture. Her success would influence recruitment strategies, training programs, and assignment policies for years to come. The military would need to adapt its approaches to capitalize on Elena's groundbreaking example. As news of Elena's achievement spread beyond the military community, civilian organizations began expressing interest in her story. Veterans groups, women's organizations, and shooting sports associations requested interviews and speaking engagements. Elena remained committed to her military service while recognizing the broader impact of her achievement. She understood that her success carried responsibility to help others pursue their goals and challenge limiting assumptions about capability and potential. 3 months after Elena's historic achievement, the ripple effects continued spreading throughout the military establishment. General Harrison found himself testifying before a congressional subcommittee about military recruitment and training policies, with Elena's success serving as a cornerstone example of untapped potential within current personnel. Elena had been selected to participate in an elite marksmanship instructor course, where she would learn to train other soldiers in long-range shooting techniques. The program represented recognition of her technical expertise and leadership potential. Moving beyond her individual achievement to systemic impact, the training center where Elena originally qualified had become an unofficial pilgrimage site for female soldiers seeking to challenge conventional limitations. Rangemaster Sergeant Torres reported a 300% increase in long-range marksmanship program applications, with participants citing Elena's example as inspiration. Elena's daily routine now included formal mentoring responsibilities, alongside her regular military duties. She conducted weekly sessions with soldiers interested in advanced marksmanship, regardless of their gender or current skill level. Her patient teaching style and comprehensive knowledge made her a sought-after instructor. General Harrison had initiated a comprehensive review of physical fitness and capability assessment standards across all military specialties. Elena's achievement had highlighted potential gaps between assumed requirements and actual performance demands, prompting systematic reevaluation of qualification criteria. The prestigious 3,200-meter badge that Elena earned was now displayed in the base's main headquarters building, accompanied by a detailed description of her achievement and its significance. Visiting dignitaries and new recruits were regularly briefed about her groundbreaking accomplishment. Elena's sister Maria had indeed followed through on her military aspirations, enlisting with confidence that her gender would not limit her opportunities. Maria frequently referenced Elena's example when facing skepticism during her own training programs, carrying forward the legacy of challenging assumptions. Military academies began incorporating Elena's story into their leadership and diversity training curricula. Her achievement provided concrete evidence that excellence could emerge from unexpected sources, supporting arguments for inclusive recruitment and development policies. Elena received notification that she had been selected for promotion to Sergeant First Class, ahead of the normal timeline. Her technical expertise, leadership abilities, and positive influence on military culture had earned recognition from senior leadership. Throughout the command structure, the Barrett rifle manufacturer had developed a case study around Elena's achievement, highlighting how proper training and dedication could maximize equipment effectiveness regardless of operator characteristics. Her success had influenced their product development and marketing strategies. General Harrison often reflected on the moment he first witnessed Elena's shooting, recognizing it as a turning point in his own understanding of military potential. He had incorporated lessons from that experience into his leadership philosophy and policy recommendations. Elena's achievement had also attracted international attention, with foreign military representatives requesting briefings about her training methods and the circumstances of her success. Her accomplishment was being studied by defense establishments worldwide as an example of maximizing human potential. The long-range marksmanship community had embraced Elena as a technical expert rather than merely a symbolic figure. Her contributions to equipment evaluation, training methodology, and performance optimization were valued independently of their historical significance. Elena continued receiving speaking invitations from civilian organizations. Though she remained selective about external commitments, she prioritized military duties while recognizing her responsibility to inspire others and challenge limiting assumptions about capability. The base where Elena achieved her historic qualification had established an annual marksmanship competition named in her honor. The event attracted participants from across the military, creating new opportunities for excellence while commemorating her groundbreaking achievement. Elena's achievement had also influenced civilian shooting sports, with women's participation in long-range competitions increasing significantly. Her example provided evidence that physical strength was less important than technique, preparation, and mental discipline. General Harrison realized that Elena's impact extended far beyond individual achievement or even military policy. Her success had challenged societal assumptions about capability and potential, inspiring people in various fields to pursue goals previously considered unreachable. Elena approached each day with the same dedication and professionalism that had characterized her qualification attempt. However, she now carried additional responsibility as a role model and change agent, influencing military culture through example rather than advocacy. 1 year after that pivotal morning when General Harrison halted in shock, Elena Rodriguez stood before a classroom of aspiring marksmen as the military's first female long-range shooting instructor. Her students included soldiers of all backgrounds, united by their desire to achieve excellence in one of the military's most demanding specialties. Elena's teaching methods had revolutionized marksmanship instruction, emphasizing scientific understanding over brute force approaches. Her students consistently achieved higher qualification rates than traditional programs, validating her comprehensive approach to training and preparation. General Harrison, now promoted to command a larger region, regularly visited Elena's training facility. Their relationship had evolved from that shocking first encounter to mutual professional respect. He often brought visiting officials to observe Elena's innovative training methods and their remarkable results. The military had officially revised its physical fitness standards for various specialties, incorporating lessons learned from Elena's achievement. New assessment protocols focused on functional capability rather than arbitrary physical characteristics, opening opportunities for soldiers previously excluded from consideration. Elena's original spotter, Corporal Mitchell, had been promoted to sergeant and now served as her assistant instructor. Their partnership had become legendary within the marksmanship community, demonstrating how collaborative relationships could enhance individual performance and create systemic improvements. The 3,200-meter badge had been earned by 12 additional soldiers since Elena's breakthrough, including 3 more women who followed her pioneering path. Each new achievement reinforced the validity of Elena's example, while expanding opportunities for others to pursue similar goals. Elena's family had become unofficial ambassadors for military service, speaking at schools and community events about opportunities available to dedicated individuals, regardless of background. Her grandfather's early lessons had created a legacy extending far beyond their original scope. Rangemaster Sergeant Torres had been selected to head the military's marksmanship training modernization program, largely based on his successful supervision of Elena's achievement and subsequent program improvements. His experience managing her historic qualification provided valuable insights for systemic training enhancements. Elena received notification of her selection for the military's elite sniper school, representing another barrier being broken through demonstrated competence rather than advocacy. Her technical expertise and teaching abilities made her an ideal candidate for the program's most challenging curriculum. General Harrison often shared Elena's story during leadership conferences, using her achievement to illustrate principles about recognizing potential, challenging assumptions, and creating environments where excellence could emerge from unexpected sources. Her example had influenced countless leadership decisions throughout the military. The base where Elena achieved her historic qualification had become a premier training facility, attracting students from across the military and allied nations. Elena's achievement had elevated the facility's reputation while creating new opportunities for advanced training and professional development. Elena's achievement had also influenced civilian employment practices, with various organizations citing her example when implementing inclusive hiring and promotion policies. Her success provided evidence that capability often exceeded traditional predictive measures. The congressional subcommittee that heard General Harrison's testimony had incorporated Elena's example into legislation supporting expanded military opportunities and revised assessment standards. Her individual achievement had contributed to policy changes affecting thousands of future service members. Elena continued pursuing her own professional development, recently completing advanced instructor certification and beginning officer candidate school. Her career trajectory demonstrated that breakthrough achievements could serve as foundations for continued growth rather than lifetime-defining moments. The moment when General Harrison first Halted in shock had become part of military folklore, regularly referenced in discussions about leadership, recognition, and the importance of questioning assumptions. That single encounter had catalyzed changes affecting military culture at every level. Elena's daily routine now included responsibilities spanning from individual instruction to policy consultation, but she maintained the same humble professionalism that had characterized her original qualification attempt. Her success had never changed her commitment to military service and helping others achieve their potential. As Elena prepared for her next challenge at sniper school, she reflected on the journey that began with her grandfather's patient instruction on a Texas ranch. Each achievement had opened doors for others while demonstrating that excellence knew no traditional boundaries. General Harrison still made inspection rounds, though now he carried different assumptions about what constituted military potential. Elena's example had permanently altered his perspective, making him a more effective leader and advocate for recognizing capability wherever it emerged. The story that began with a general's shocked halt had become a testament to the power of individual achievement to transform entire systems, proving that sometimes the most significant changes begin with a single person's determination to exceed expectations.